well, if you don't eat meat, you won't be strong, right? Yeah. Right, yeah. He goes through all these things. One of the guys is, what's his name? Something Davis. Scott Davis? Huh?
MMA?
Huh? Ironman Triathlon. I think it's Scott Davis. Actually, he went to UC Davis, my school, you know. So they have these triathlons where you get to swim, do bicycling, and run. Those three things. And they have competitions, you know. So they have them all over the world. And the heaviest one is in Hawaii. It's called the Ironman Triathlon, like that. So first you swim in the Hawaiian Ocean. And sometimes the Hawaiian Ocean has like these 15-meter tall waves. You know. They don't go swimming in that part, but you know, they go swimming where it's like, you know, it's real. It isn't like swimming across your swimming pool. It's like, you know, you get a whole thing like that, you know. So first you got to swim maybe 3 miles through this water, you know. Then you get out. Those guys that survive get out. They get on their bicycle and got a bicycle like 50 kilometers. And Hawaii is full of these volcanic craters, everything else. They're competing with that. Then finally, the whole thing finishes off with something like, I guess, like, you know, 6 kilometers straight run. So it says that very few people can ever even do this. Okay. And like, nobody has won it more than one time except Scott Davis, and over 5 years he won it like 3 times. You know, okay. So it says that some people think that Scott Davis is the fittest man who ever lived. Scott Davis is a vegetarian. Another guy he gives is this Marine Corps captain who's a vegetarian in the Marine Corps. And actually, the armed services has vegetarian arrangements like that, you know, so on. So this guy, you know, for what he holds a world's record on sit-ups. You lie on your back and you sit up like that. He has the world's, because you have to do it within 24 hours. He does something like, you know, 15,243 sit-ups like that in 24 hours. Yeah. Another time, for the fun of it, he swam upriver in this heavy river, shot a basketball 4,000 times, all within a certain time like that. You know. So he's this Marine Corps captain. He's also a vegetarian. You know. So he goes through all these heavy athletes, everything else like that, vegetarians. What else? The beef industry destroys the environment. You know, the excrement and everything else produced by these animals is unbelievable. You know what it does to the environment and so on. And health, we got that before. Your body can't digest it properly. So he's a whole very, very complete book, very good book. It's easy to read too. A Diet for New America. And his father was so angry with his kid because he become this whole like, you know, thing about, because the milk, finding the milk, where does the milk come from? They show these pictures of these happy cows, you know, moo. And there's a big variety in the dairies, big variety. In California, some Christians have a dairy called Clover, and they treat the cows okay until they send them down the road, you know, okay. You know. But before that, they treat them nicely and everything else. And their milk is much more better in terms of the amount of DDT that's in it, the amount of pus that's in it. You know, it's everything much more healthy, sane kind of milk. Other stuff, the milk is so contaminated it's actually poisonous, like that and stuff. You know, it's just living on milk. But some of the milk is so contaminated because the animals are so tortured. And the Prabhupada says that some of these things cannot even be mentioned in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada mentions a lot of stuff in the pages of the Bhagavatam, but he gets the point of some of these things. Some of the systems, the cows are kept in cages, which are lifted up mechanically and taken to the washing area, the milking area, the injecting area, and they never leave a cage their entire life. Natural lifespan is about 25 years, I think. These animals live maybe like about 16 years, like that. It's just, when he saw this stuff, it was just like unbelievable, you know. And what kind of people do this work? People with warts across half their faces, people with like IQ of 14 or something, this really condemned people. You know? And the killing area, they won't let anybody stay there. They pay them more, but they won't let them stay there for more than, I think it's 2 weeks. Some people want to stay there to get paid more, but their experiences again and again, these guys just go crazy. They start getting in knife fights with other guys and everything else. You know? So it's a whole industry. You can talk about it like this. You know? So some people become vegan. Okay, we won't participate. It's like Arjuna, right? I'm going to walk away from the battle. So even now, some devotees are doing this. You know? Okay, to avoid this contaminated milk, okay. but you can find, some of it is better. And if you're living in the forest, just a rishi doing chanting every day, 24 hours of hearing and chanting and that kind of stuff, you don't need much psychic, energy, vitality like that. Your body can be very gentle like that. But if you're going to be a pundit for the kings and going preaching and doing these all activities, then you need psychological energy and stuff like that, strength. And for that we have to have milk. Milk is a natural form of this mental strength, energy for mental strength and stuff like that. So our point is, as you see this, that vegans many times are like, they haven't got this energy to go out and stand up against these people and stuff like that. And also the mental strength to be able to form ideas and arguments like that. Kshatriya argues like with his arms. Brahmana has to argue with his mind. You see Subhag Maharaj, whenever he's going to argue with somebody, he puts his hand behind his back. As soon as he does that, he's ready to argue. So, but that's what a Brahmana does. He uses all these heavy psychological techniques. I got a black belt in karate, and you learn techniques, how to deal with certain situations like that. For example, what's one here? Pick one out. Okay. You're going to attack somebody. Okay, you've got a club this long, so you step forward. At the same time, you aim this knuckle, holding onto the club, at the person's earlobe. Okay. That shock shakes him up a little bit. Then you go right for the solar plexus, like that. You drop down and go right for the kneecap. So. Then if the guy is still standing, you turn around and you use your run fu. Run fu? See, it's the most ancient and most effective form of self-defense. When I got the black belt, my instructor informed me about this. He said, if you get in a fight, you're going to get hurt. The guy that gets hurt the least is the winner. So if you can use run fu, use it. But you learn all these techniques. And when you're fighting, there's not time enough to think about it. Well, I think I'll do this, that, and this. It's built into your reflexes. And you've got to practice every day and stuff like that. So same way if you're going to be a Brahmin, you learn all these arguments and stuff like that. Verbal combat to establish the point like that and so on. Then beyond that, of course, the devotee is personal, so on. So Prabhupada said that. He said, I know verbal judo. I know their weakness, and I beat on that until they die. So when to use it? When to use violence like that? When to use verbal violence and so on. But that's a Brahmana's job, learning these arguments and stuff. And as much as we can do that, it's a very good contribution to society to be able to establish things, to be able to protect cows. Prabhupada says the best way to protect the cows is by Sankirtan. Spreading the sound vibration, the ideas, the knowledge like that. You give a good argument. I was doing all this preaching in universities and wondering what's the use, the book distribution not so high. But then I was in Chile, and we give a whole lecture on Sankhya, what is the soul, everything else. And it was actually the next year, and then one devotee came and said, "Oh Maharaj, I'm taking biology at the university," and it was one of we were talking about like evolution. And somebody brought up reincarnation, and people were joking. And then the professor said, "No." He said, "Actually, one of these Hare Krishnas was here last year, and he gave a whole explanation. I went out of curiosity, and now I can see how it's very practical, how the mind and getting involved and this and that." And he gave a very nice explanation then of how reincarnation, the mechanism, can function like that. And the students were all listening. So you may give somebody a simple argument, some idea like that. That's why stories are nice. The scholar and the boatman, that one, that, or the bird in the cage. These analogies, people they can catch them and then they tell somebody else. And we see it's actually a fact. All over the world now, our ideas have gone out in many places like that. So cow protection, a very important topic. But practically speaking, until people are vegetarian and understand reincarnation, they can't understand anything else. So you have to have lots of prasadam distribution, and developing the idea of the consciousness. And vegan is okay if you're not going to be engaging in Sankirtan preaching and work that requires mental strength. after lectures, I almost always have a headache. So this Ayurvedic doctor, a really good Ayurvedic doctor in Peru, he says, you get headaches after lectures. I said, well, yeah. He said, because the brain works on sugar, right? So after that, drink some hot tea with a little sugar. So many ways to get sugar. If you chew a chapati in your mouth thoroughly, it produces sugar. You know? But yeah, brahmanas, just headaches, everything else like that. And everybody has different nature. You know, somebody works with his shoulders. Parthasarthi Das, you know him? Our Kshatriya guy. He was in the Iraq War for fighting for George Bush. He tried to get out of it every single way he could, you know, but he couldn't get out. And so in the end, Kadambakana, the spiritual master, said, okay, then you got to go ahead and just be a devotee. And he was shaved up, I think. He was like a senior company sergeant or something like that. He had like 139 guys under his protection. He should definitely write a book about the whole experience like that. But he would preach every day and Sankirtan and everything else like that. So he told me one time, he said, Hanumat Swami, soldiers are not intelligent. Yeah? Soldiers are brave. Like that. He said, my men, my soldiers, 139 guys, I tell them, okay guys, see that hill? Yes sir. We're going to take it. Yes sir. Like that. They come back with 4 fingers missing, everything else. I said, you know, we did it sir. What's our next mission? You know, like that. If I tell them, they say, okay guys, see the farmhouse and the hill? They say, yeah. First we're going to take the farmhouse and we're going to go up the hill. They say, yes sir. Okay. He said, if you give them 3 objectives, it's a guaranteed failure. Soldiers, maybe you give them 2 objectives, maybe. He said 3, everybody knows, forget it. They're going to not understand what they're doing, everything else like that. So soldiers are not intelligent. Soldiers are brave. Okay? So that's a different dharma. Yeah? So we have to, take this dharma, brahmanas and everything else, and try and develop that. But that's what's missing, really, is a head for society. And our first business in Iskcon is to try and produce brahmanas. And if you can't be a brahmana, if you're a kshatriya, okay, Mahanidhi Swami, this skinny little Sankirtan devotee, and Vijayadatma, the same size, they would go out and distribute books at Fisherman's Wharf and intellectually, defeat people and get them to take books and whatever, and they walk away happy. So one time they were down at this place called Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and there's all these like crab places and this stuff. It's a big tourist area with different kinds of entertainment and eating places. But they can sell a lot of books there. So there was about maybe 5 like kind of rowdy guys, sitting there smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and teasing them and yelling at people. And so finally one of them actually grabbed this Vijayadatma's book bag and was taking the whole thing and gonna destroy him or something. And these guys were pretty big guys, So then Vijayadatma was fighting with the guys, and other guys came over now and started beating on him. And so Mahanidhi Swami, his brahmacharya, had to help, and so they're finally on the ground. These 5 guys are giving a hard time. So Mahanidhi Swami, he told me this whole thing. He said all of a sudden he felt himself just like going up in the air like this, and he looked, and he said there was this guy who was like about 2 meters tall and about 2 meters across at the shoulders. Some kind of Marine Corps, special services guy. And then he also grabbed Vijayadatma and pulled him out like that, put him down. Then Mahanidhi Swami thought he'd also come to beat on them. And he said, okay, now we're going to get our heads twisted off and everything else. So the guy pulled him out, and he said to these other 5 rough guys, he said, the Hare Krishnas are my friends. If you want to fight with them, you got to fight with me first. So he's got, I don't know, I got to go home now. I got to change my oil, my motorcycle. You fight with him. No, he was okay. So they all went away. He looked at Mahanidhi Swami and Vijayadatma, like that. Went on going like that. It's okay, you can support Brahminical culture. As much as you can, learn philosophy, learn culture, preach, talk. Words are the way by which you defeat things. And then after that, then you're Kshatriya, then support, protect devotees, or Vaishyas, give the economic support in a good way. Use the money intelligently so that, culture, art, dance, music, publications, DVDs, they all go out in society like that. So many things.